welcome to another episode, all. Throughout this episode, I'm going to discuss somewhere called Swiss Medica. It's a clinic offering false treatments out unto people, preying upon their fear and their hopes. Swiss Medica, I came across it on Facebook on social media, where I keep seeing so many false advertisements being done, and it's clearly for the sake of making money. In this Swiss Medica, they are offering what they call stem cell therapy, but there's no evidence whatsoever that stem cell therapy cures autism. They claim they can cure anyone whatsoever, that they can cure people with Parkinson's disease, cure people with autism, ADHD, Down syndrome, just telling out to the general public they can cure. I'm just going to read something from the newspaper article on the laptop about this clinic. It says, I quote, "Clinics have been accused of peddling false hope to parents of autistic children with potentially hazardous treatment. A Sunday People probe found dozens of private firms charging up to £14,000 for stem cell therapy, claiming it provides a whole range of benefits. Clinics insist the treatment, in which donor cells are fed into a patient's bloodstream, a drip, can help improve youngsters' social skills, speech, and concentration. But their counter claims that the therapy is unproven, could be distressing for children, and even cause them more harm than good. One mum blasted adverts for it as horrifying, while other parents who forked out huge sums of cash complained it had little effect. One called therapy a 99% failure, and another said, "I spent a ton of money on my 2 kids and nothing happened." Professor Richard Mills, consultant for non-profit Autism, said, "Stem cell therapy is regarded within the medical community as potentially quite hazardous, and there isn't so far a reliable evidence base that would cause it to be recommended. It is controversial and experimental, and I'm not aware of any independent studies which prove it works." End of quote. So, Professor Richard Mills there even says there is no evidence of this therapy, but they are claiming they've got the evidence that they can cure people of autism, but they can't. Now I'm going to look at some reviews about this therapy, Swiss Medica. I'll read out a couple of negative ones and a couple of positive ones, as some people claim they've had a positive experience. I decided to look at the reviews about this place, and I wrote a review myself, so I'll read my review first. "I came across this organisation on Facebook advertising. This organisation is disgraceful for the falsehood and lack of information advertised on Facebook commercials. This organisation fails to include the devastating side effects of their treatments and contradicts the scientific fact that no treatment works for everyone. Swiss Medica wrote a success story, then put an illustration of a boy at the end. They come up on Facebook again with the same story, word for word. Identical story. It was a copy and paste with an illustration of a girl this time. I doubt 2 different people affected variously had identical lives, identical life experiences. This organisation is intentionally deceitful. The success story is full of lies and science fiction. A neurologist would not tell a patient they will die by the age of 6 before trying all available interventions and treatments. He claims a boy having 10 seizures every day. Epilepsy doesn't work that way. People don't have the same amount of seizures every day. They don't know how severity is measured. Severity is determined by how much damage does one seizure cause, not by how many seizures a person has. One of my epileptic seizures does more damage than someone else having 10 seizures. Swiss Medica claims there's a cure to autism. Autism has no cure, and since every individual is affected variously, this organisation is putting people in danger. Medications and interventions interact with each other. As well as failing to mention the side effects, they fail to provide medical evidence, and they tell fictional testimonials instead. The National Health Services provide 6 warning signs it's a fake treatment. 1. It claims to cure or help people recover from autism. 2. It claims to work in most people and have quick results. 3. Personal stories are used to claim it works rather than medical evidence. Words like miracle, faith, and trust are used. 5. It can be done by anyone without training or qualifications. 6. It costs a lot of money. Swiss Medica is an intentionally deceitful organisation preying on your fear and your hopes. Do not trust this organisation with all its deceit, lies, commercial profiteering, deceitful advertisements, failure to tell you the side effects, failure to provide medical evidence, but instead give you false testimonials. Do not trust them. Do research on their treatments and see for yourselves. So, where I mentioned about it doesn't provide medical evidence, the professor in the newspaper said he's not aware of any medical evidence. So, there's no medical evidence whatsoever to it, according to the professor in the newspaper, and according to the advertisements, and the testimonials you can just see they're fake. It cost a lot of money. The newspaper went saying that they were costing people £14,000. That certainly is a lot. And they're using personal stories, another one of the warning signs. They don't just claim it works for most people, they claim it works for everyone. But we've seen and witnessed that it certainly does not. They use contradictions to scientific evidence. They claim it cures. So, again, they are breaking every single warning sign that something is a fake treatment. So, the actual National Health Services, rather than this clinic, Swiss Medica, actually said no. And if you look on the National Health Services website, you'll find them confirm that there's no cure to autism whatsoever. Now I'll read out some other reviews by other people. This first one seems a rather negative one, so I'll just read through it. Before you go to the practice clinic, Dr. Ingrid Riedel let it be known you will pay for the treatment as a private patient, and you will probably pay big money unless you run away after the first consultation. We looked at other poor reviews and can wholeheartedly agree with them. Just on that first part, the newspaper article said that nearly all the parents had negative effects. I continue. A tiny bit may be covered by KVG, maybe 5%. The rest you will need to pay. You will receive many medications from the clinic not covered by insurance. Dr. Riedel, in my opinion, compared to other doctors, tends to overload the patient on costly medications. Obviously, that is her moneymaker. No prescriptions to apothec pharmacy. There is a question of medical ethics for Dr. Riedel to give so much medication that you will have to pay for at their office. She did an analytical test on me called Metatronia. I spent an hour on that machine. The doctor never discussed the results with me. She did not tell me what is going on, but she then gave me a lot of medications. That is very poor. She will come into your consultation room for a few minutes, and then she leaves. I am thinking she will come back. The consult is not over, but she doesn't come back. An assistant will come with a few boxes and bottles of medicine for you. The doctor has prescribed the medications for 3 times per day. The box and packages say 1 times per day. Is that proper medicine by a doctor, or is the doctor just trying to run up the bills for refills? Taking all these, I bloated terribly, an extreme sharp attack of pain, and I had to run to her. I didn't go to another doctor because Dr. Riedel should know the problems and side effects with her medication. What did she do? She gave me 4 more medications from her clinic. Wow, that was ending this relationship very quickly. We are supposed to trust doctors. They have the knowledge. I truly believe I was taken advantage of by this doctor, and I am out of my pocket paying thousands with only several appointments. Wow. Also, Dr. Riddle does not give you referrals to specialists. Even if you ask to go to the specialist, the doctor will raise her hands in the air and say, "What for? I will treat you here." She'll keep you in her clinic and handle everything. Give more tests and medications from her clinic. Another moneymaker. She will do tests, never tell you exactly what is the problem, but give you a lot of medications to take home. Sometimes you'll get an IV of vitamin C with other ingredients in it. This, they tell you, is not covered by insurance. But you may be recommended to receive several. Your bill that you will need to pay will add up into the thousands very quickly. As the newspaper said, 14,000. There are not many patients there. There is no waiting room. There is only 1 chair at the door for 1 patient to sit before their appointment. There are several treatment rooms. Not busy. I guess people who pay a lot for medical insurance don't wish to pay more out of their pocket. They stay away. Unqualified doctor, trickery, avoid her at all costs. I went to see her in the same area. She did the metronome test, but did not care to analyze it. She pops in for a few seconds and leaves me in the room with the nurses to finish the selling of vitamins. When I asked for her, she came in with a bunch of vitamins. She prescribed extremely high dosages. She gave me 10 vitamins and others 3 times 3, each times 10 vitamins. I bloated terribly. An extremely sharp attack of pain. Had to run to her. She gave 4 more. End of review. Now, I can tell you with my experience of medication, due to my epilepsy, that certainly is dangerous. I've had a surgery done to me called vagus nerve stimulation, because my specialist girl, my epilepsy specialist, our goal was we wanted to reduce how much medication I consume. That was our goal. So surgery was our only option. Because when you take such mass dosages of medication, that is extremely dangerous. So to go giving someone that much medication and not knowing which medication, because none of them seem to have worked, no evidence, which should explain why they just give testimonials and don't provide you with medical evidence. So, this clinic is not looking good. Charge you for all the money. They don't know the side effects. They don't know which medication to prescribe. They do it for lots of money. I'll see if I can find a positive review, someone who shared a positive experience. Here's just another short negative one. Most of them seem to be negative. I quote, "Review Swiss Medica Clinic XXL. It might well work for other diseases. Unfortunately, it did not work for me. In fact, it made me much, much worse. In total, it costed me over €45,000. I went to the clinic in Belgrade twice. I have severe brain trauma. I am not rich. It costed me all my money. My advice: do not spend your money here. End of review. Now, again, all about the money, not working. No benefits, but actually making things worse. And the newspaper article said it made things much worse. And the actual medical system claims that it's got hazardous results. But there's no single independent studies done, which is just more evidence. There is no evidence for it. But there is no proof it works. Here's a positive one given 5 stars, a 5-star review. I quote, "Excellent clinic with doctors and nurses that explain you everything. We had stem cell therapy treatment for our son. Everything is arranged from the clinic, from our pickup from the airport, our staying to the hotel, our meals, even our transportation from the hotel to the clinic. They are doing their best to offer high quality services for the patient, but also for the people that accompany the patient. They are professionals and they know their job. We are hoping for the best of results." Well, we've already had witnesses saying there's contradictions right there, but it's not very good. And what results did this review actually share? It says they know their job, but we've got evidence they don't know their job about how they deal with medication. So we know that this clinic does not know its job. These doctors, since they weren't even allowed the patients to see a specialist. Again, I'll use my epilepsy as an example. I don't just have my epilepsy specialist nurse. I've got my epilepsy specialist nurse. I've got a consultant who will sometimes decide what we should do next. And the nurses don't keep everything to themselves. For example, in order to find the origin of my seizures, we've had to do so many magnetic resonance imaging, MRI scans. But my specialist nurse doesn't take on the MRI scan. She sends me to a neuroradiologist, not an epilepsy specialist, but someone who is actually educated in that area. Because if you think of neurological development, the brain, each consultant doctor, they only have a speciality on a specific part of the brain. They are not educated about the entire brain. The brain is such a complex thing to study, but no one's got the time to learn everything about it. So they certainly don't know what they're doing. But I'm thinking just one nurse can do everything. Alright, I'll share another positive one to try and balance the stories out. Right. I quote, "Excellent healthcare and hospitality. Doctors and staff are very helpful and caring. Hospitality management have been very caring with my child. They have been looking after my son and been so considerate. Clinic has got home-like environment and staff members are very polite, caring and friendly. Would definitely recommend to others." That was experienced on the 2nd of May 2023. So just a bit earlier this year. But notice that in that review, nothing about the results or anything, nothing about the process, but just the doctor's behaviour. If the doctors were being, say, abusive or behaving in any kind of bad way, wouldn't they get sacked? So isn't a nurse or doctor going to be caring? But would, otherwise they'd lose their job. You know, they'd be sacked. Here's a very short one, but once again it's negative. As I say, most of the reviews are negative. Confirmed by the newspaper article. I quote, "A con company selling false hope to vulnerable people. I have an incurable disease and they offer illegal treatment. I researched the treatment and it is illegal." End of review. For them to be using illegal treatments, we know that this treatment, this cure for autism, is not actually a cure. It's not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It's contradictory to medicine in general. Any medicine specialist knows there's no one-size-fits-all cure. For if you think about autism, every autistic individual is affected in a various way. So do the same thing to them, you'll get a various outcome. Every time. For example, I've got a friend and his mother has been on some of the same epilepsy medications as I, but we've both gotten different results. But if I take perampanel as an example, that's one of the newest medications. I'm consuming the maximum dosage of 12 milligrams, but my friend's mother consumes, well, once she began consuming 4 milligrams of it, she began having negative side effects. She became more aggressive. Aggressive behaviour began. She began just snapping at everyone. And then with my friend, she was able to consume higher dosage of one called lacosamide. But when I consumed lacosamide, we got a different outcome. And I began having double vision, motor problems, losing balance, that I couldn't even walk. But we had to take me off of lacosamide. That was not suitable for me. There's no one-size-fits-all in medicine. So there is great evidence against Swiss Medica. They are not telling you the truth. This Swiss Medica with all their, since personal testimonials is the best they've got for you. That's not good enough for me. I would want evidence, just as the National Health Service has advised. So I would advise you to actually do your own research, as the people in those reviews that I read out have done, the people who've actually had experience there, the lies, the deceitful profiteering on social media that they do. I really don't trust this place. So, but I would like you to research this and actually come to your own conclusions. As soon as you let go of skepticism, you begin to enter dangerous territory. So don't take my word for granted, but actually investigate and be skeptical out of all forms of treatment, because all treatments, surgeries, medications, all have negative effects as well as positive. So you've got to find out, is it worth it? For example, I were offered brain surgery instead of this VNS therapy, but I decided to question the doctor. I questioned the surgeon. I asked him what else would happen besides the chance of I becoming seizure free. Is there any side effects that we should be expecting? And I didn't like what I heard. They said, "You'll forget everything you've learnt during the last 10 years. You'll forget who your family are. You'll lose your memory. You'll have persistent strokes. You could possibly die during the surgery. You won't be able to walk anymore. You would need full-time care. You wouldn't be able to have any independence." I didn't see that as worth it. So I said, "Oh, no." I then asked a further question. I asked them, "Since I'm autistic, have you ever done this to an autistic person?" The answer once again is no. Since my brain functions differently to the majority, you're most likely going to get a different reaction from the surgery if you do it to a brain that functions in a different way. You'll most likely get a different outcome. So I decided to turn the brain surgery down because it seemed too risky, wasn't worth it. So by asking questions, that's what you've got to do. Always question them. Don't just take the word for granted. Such as, look at their motivations. If you read the reviews, if you look at their own adverts, see what do you think they're trying to do in. Try to figure out their motivations. What's motivating them to do this. That's one of the things, when it comes to sources, that's what you must do. You must question them. Ask things like, what is the motive of the producer? As we live in an age of confirmation bias. So, even on this video, what are my motives? Why am I talking about this clinic? Am I being biased, or am I just informing you about something that may not be out and about so much, but is getting advertised online? Am I doing this for money? Because on YouTube videos you can make money after all. But personally, I'm not doing it for money because I receive benefits. If I do anything to make myself money, I'll be prosecuted. So I can't do this for money. So why am I doing it? Why am I making videos? If you look at my previous videos, you'll see that they all tend to do with disability, disability awareness, neurodiversity, but I'm trying to educate people and promote, as I would like neurodiversity to be accepted in our community. My goal is to help others produce an all-inclusive society where disabled people will be treated with equality, will be treated just like everyone else, not treated as people who are inferior, not dehumanised by things like applied behaviour analysis, claim that there's something wrong about them as a person, not just they've got difficulties. So my advice to you is remain sceptical, try to figure out the motives, try to figure out what do they get out of it. Can you see any biases? And do as much critical thinking as you can. And as one of the reviews said, he said, the doctors are supposed to have the knowledge. So actually trust yourself. Trust the knowledge that you've got. You've got some knowledge, you can obtain knowledge, and then that may make you question the doctor, who is meant to be knowledgeable. But if they're doing it like this Medica, this Swiss Medica, they will not be trained. So you've got to know when to question the doctor. If you found this episode interesting, hang around and I will be talking about more fake cures in the future, such as the Neurodiversity protocol. That'll be another fake cure I shall talk about. If you liked this, hit like, hit subscribe, and click the bell and you'll be aware of when more content is uploaded. If you made it this far, thank you for listening.